Hello, I'm Allison, and today on Thinking Outside the Box, I'm going to show you how I created these Pandora Style Beads. They are so sparkly and so pretty. I can't wait to show you how I created them. So let me gather up supplies and I'll be back. So to create these beads, what you're going to need is a UV light, and I have mine off to the side. You're going to need some UV resin, and I chose this resin because this has a very low viscosity, so it's a very thin, fast curing UV resin. You're going to need some toothpicks. You're going to need some sort of super glue, and I like rapid fuse. You're going to need inclusions, and what I've used are these Mylar Flakes from RJ Crafts. I've used some of these sparkly inclusions from Pandora, Tiny Pandora. And I specifically used this line up here of the larger round glitter. You can use paints in these, a very small amount. And in one of them, I used the Lumiere by Jacquard. But you can use any paint that you'd like. I just chose to use that one. I used mica powders from Born Pretty. You can also use these micro beads, and RJ Crafts has these in her shop. These are caviar beads or micro beads. She also has a large selection of mica pigments, and I just pulled out a few. We're running out of room here. I also used alcohol inks. Specifically, I use the Adirondack Copper, but you can use any alcohol inks. The Arto is a good brand also. And I also used glitters, and I used the ones from Cosmic Shimmer, and they're the sparkle shakers, and I love these. They are just so pretty. And I also used this iridescent glitter. You're going to want something to mix your resin, and I love these little silicone bowls from TKB Trading. And I just use one of the sticks from RJ Crafts, but I use this end of it. And you can reuse it if you just wipe it off. So you need that. You're also going to need some eyelets, and I found that these fit these beads perfectly. And I hope to have a link for these. I think I got them at Hobby Lobby. So you're gonna need those. You're going to need some tools to finish off your bead. And RJ Crafts has these wonderful diamond files, and I used one of the round files here just to smooth the edge of the bead up at the top of the mold. And of course, you're going to need your mold. I found this mold on AliExpress. And I know there are lots of molds out there. Most of them are just smooth, and those are great. I mean, if you want to put dried flowers in there, or, you know, little rock chips or little gems, you know, stuff like that so that you can really see them, those are perfect. But what I loved about these is because they're faceted, and this one has several facets. And it was just unique, and I knew I had to have this mold. I will have a link for this in the description. I suggest, because they are so inexpensive, that you get a few of them. I have done tons of beads, excuse me, with this mold, and it's still holding up. But it's good to just have extras on hand for when you wear this one out, because eventually it will wear out. And last but not least, you're going to want some sort of a jewelry piece to put your beads on. And there's so many out there. This is just one that I had on hand, and I like it because the end screws off and you can slide your beads right on, put the end back on, and you're good to go. So I know that looks like a lot of supplies, but it's whatever you want to put in the bead. I'm just showing you some of the things that you can put inside, like the glitters, the alcohol inks, the paints, the mica powders. I am just showing you those. You don't have to get all this stuff. You put in it what you have on hand, or if you want to get this stuff, that's fine too. I will have links in the description. So I'm going to go ahead and get set up, and I'll be back. All right, so I wanted to show you or tell you what I made, how I made each bead. This is going to be a short and quick tutorial, just showing you the process, but once you've done a couple, you'll be able to do whatever you want to put in them. So for this particular bead here, I used some of the Lumiere paints. And when you add paint to your UV resin or to any resin, you don't want to put a lot in there. So just a couple little drops off the tip of the toothpick in the small mixture that you're going to use to make this bead. That's all you need. You do not want to add a lot to any resin because then the resin isn't going to cure correctly. You also want to keep whatever you're putting in there to a minimum, like your glitters, whatever other inclusions that you use, anything that's opaque, the light won't be able to get through the resin to cure it. So you need to be careful with that. So just a couple drops off the tip of a toothpick and you'll get your color for that. This one I used Born Pretty powders. And I will show you how I achieved. This is one of the beads I'm going to show you today, how I achieved this effect. But I just love that. This one here is a copper looking, oops, not on camera, a copper looking bead. And that I achieved with the copper mixative alcohol ink. This one here, I used the Mylar Holo Flakes from RJ Crafts, and I just did a mixture of the flakes in there. And that one I'm going to show you also how I created that. This one I created with the Cosmic Shimmer glitter, and this is a two-tone purple and teal. And that is another one I'm going to show you how I created. This one is also with the Cosmic Shimmer glitter. And it was a black glitter with different colors in it. It's kind of hard to pick it up on the camera, but there's all sorts of different colors in there. This one I created with the tiny Pandora kit that I showed you of all the little vials of inclusions, and this one is the round glitter, and I used copper and purple. And this is iridescent glitter, which kind of gives the holo flake effect, but without the flake, it's just the glitter, and that came out really pretty. And this one here, I also used the Born Pretty powders. And I did not mix it in with the resin. So I'm going to show you how I did that. All right, I'm going to go ahead and get my stuff set up and I'll be back. We are going to start with the Mylar bead because that one can get a little messy and a little frustrating, but you can do it. So the first thing you want to do is put some resin in your bowl And I just fill up the bottom of the bowl. And I had already poured some in there, but we'll add a little more. Then you're going to choose whatever colors that you want for your bead. And I think I am going to go with some of this clear. And just dump some in there. And I'm gonna mix the clear with some blue. Yeah, maybe some green. And the green has a little pink in it from getting them mixed up. So you put as little or as a lot, you know, as much as you want in there. And then you're just gonna go ahead and stir this up. You just wanna get all your flakes coated with the resin. And then you are going to start putting it into your mold. Now you don't have a lot of room here, so it's not the easiest thing to do, and it takes a little patience, but you can do it. And you may want to wear gloves for this step, because you might get some resin on your fingers. I just wipe it off right away. So you can kind of pull on this mold, but you kind of need a third hand if you're going to do that. So I just kind of open it up a little as I'm putting the flakes in. So you just scoop some up. Easier said than done. And you're just going to put it on top there and just start pushing it into your mold. Now be careful in this process. You do not want to poke too hard with your toothpick. You don't want to ruin your mold. And you just simply just keep doing this and pushing it in there until you've got it up to the top. And it takes a little while, so you need a little patience. Now, when you're working with resin, make sure that you're in a well-ventilated room. And I've got all the windows open in the shop today. It's starting to get a little hot in here, but... And see how I said it would get messy? You're just gonna push those down, no big deal. They'll all get in there. If you get some on the outside of the mold, it all comes off. You just keep pushing them in there until you've got your mold full. I decided to use the one with a lot of facets on it because I don't have that in the Mylar yet. I've only done it with the other one. So be interested. We'll both get to see, or we'll all get to see what it looks like. Okay, so we'll put some more in there. This stuff is so pretty. Just keep pushing it on in. And I am getting hot, so I need to turn the air conditioner on. I know hubby's not going to be happy with the windows open and the air conditioner on, but what he doesn't know isn't gonna hurt him. And I don't think he watches my tutorials, so I don't think I need to worry. And the reason I had it off was because these Mylar flakes, when you're putting them in your resin with my air conditioner, kind of blows right on my work area. And it would have blown them all over the place. Ah, that's much better. I was getting a little overheated. See, told you this was messy. This is the messiest one. The others are a whole lot easier, especially when you're using the alcohol inks and the glitters. You can just pour it right in there, and I'll show you how I do that with the next bead. All right, I'm gonna kind of stir around in there and make sure that it's gotten to all of the edges, because we're getting close to the top, but I still need a little more. Okay, this is starting to look like we're up at the top. All right, so what you're gonna do now is you're gonna wipe off your excess. And I simply do that with my toothpick and wipe the top. You don't have to get it totally perfect, but you do wanna get the top of your bead where there's no extra resin up here. And go ahead and make sure there's no air pockets. And you can kind of do that by pulling back on the mold and pushing it together a little. And you can kind of look from the sides too, since it is a clear mold. All right, that looks good. So we're gonna leave that one alone and go on to the next one, where we're going to use glitter. So I'm going to put this off to the side. And I showed in another video that if you just pop this under your UV lamp, it will cure and it'll pop right out of this bowl, because it is a silicone bowl and the UV resin will not stick to it. All right, let me find some glitter. And I think we'll make another two-tone bead. Actually, you know what? I've been wanting to use this holographic. This is Silver Rainbow Holographic Glitter by Cosmic Shimmer. So we're gonna go ahead and use that in our second mold. So you get your bowl out and you're gonna wanna fill the bottom up. I kind of just do it to where that white area around there, I just fill it to that. And now we're going to put our glitter in. And what I love about these is they have a little flip top where the shaker is exposed. And I'm going to put my hand over here because the air conditioner is blowing right on me. So you put as much or as little as you want in there. And now I use the end of this stick here to stir this all up. And you want to stir this well. Don't whip it because you'll get bubbles in your resin, but you're just stirring it enough where all the glitter is dispersed. And that looks good. So I'm gonna go ahead and wipe this off right away with a paper towel. And now, this is the easy one. We're just going to pour this in there. And what I do is I kind of pull back one of the sides and usually it just goes straight down there. But because I poured it too quickly, and I'm glad, I'm gonna leave this in, because I poured it too quickly, I now need to make it go down in there. And you just kind of manipulate and stir a little and you'll get that air pocket. There we go. So that you can get your glitter in there. All right, so I'm going to pour more in there and I'm gonna do it. And I like these bowls because you can pinch them to make a spout. So I'm gonna go a little slower this time. And let it work its way in there. And you might have to use the toothpick again to get it to go down. Because of course on camera it's not going to do it as perfect as it did before. But that's okay. Nobody is perfect. And I want to show you the glitches that you may have, which really aren't glitches. I mean, you're just going to push it on in there, so no big deal. Pour some more in. So we want to get it up to the top. And work around the edges inside lightly with your toothpick. You don't want to scratch your mold because these molds actually leave a shiny finish to the bead. So if you scratch it, that part won't be shiny anymore. All right, I'm going to run this over the top, make sure there are no air pockets. And that little nub that's in there, that's your opening of your bead or the center hole of your bead, you could move that around too, just to make sure that everything is full. So I'm gonna go ahead and wipe the excess off because it is now full. And that's it. You're gonna go ahead and pop that in your UV light, and I like to leave it in there for 5 minutes. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that and I'll be back. Okay, our mold is out of the UV lamp, and as you can see, this top has little bits of resin on it. Those just come right off because this is also silicone. The mold is silicone. It comes right off. So if you get some on top, don't fret it. So how we want to demold is simply by pulling apart a little bit so that you break the contact with the mold. And then you just kind of push up from the bottom until you can pop your bead out of the mold. And what I like to do is kind of get it at an angle. And because of that little nub in there, you want to be careful not to break that little nub off, because then you won't have the hole for your bead anymore. So you just kind of turn it a little and it comes right out. And look at that sparkly bead. And for our second one, do the same thing. Get it out kind of at an angle and then turn it. And look at the sparkles in that. That actually came out kind of cool with all the little facets, but I think I like it better in the other. Now we're going to go ahead and I'm going to show you how I did the Born Pretty. So I'm just going to kind of clean this up carefully as to not getting the resin into the mold, that dried resin or cured resin actually. And we're just going to do one more bead because I said I was going to make this short and I don't think it's going to end up being short. So what you want to do is get your Born Pretty or whatever mica you're going to use, and you're going to want a brush, a soft brush, and kind of a detail brush because we need to get down in there. And let me just clear a little bit more of that away, just so we don't get that into our mold. And I should probably turn the air conditioner off for this, otherwise I'll have Born Pretty powders everywhere. All right. So go ahead and open up your powder. And now it won't go flying. And put a little bit on your brush. And go ahead and put that down into the mold. And you are just going to rub it around in there with your brush because you're wanting to coat the inside of the mold. Air conditioner is making noises. And you want to get all of it. Make sure you get up top, just everywhere inside of there. Around the little nub. Everywhere you can get with your brush. And you don't have to worry about hurting your mold because you're using a nice soft brush. All right, I think that should do it. And you can also look underneath and kind of look and see if you've coated all the edges. And it looks like they are. So all we need to do now is to pour our resin in there. And this is going to be a little easier because we're going to take it straight out of the bottle. So I just kind of try my hardest to pull back one of the sides, and you're simply dripping the resin into the mold. And this is so much easier than the Mylar flakes, but the Mylar flakes give such a nice effect that it's worth every bit of it. All right, so kind of pull your mold back, making sure that every part of it is coated. And kind of push. You want to make sure, you don't want to use a toothpick on this because you don't want to get the inside, you don't want to scrape that Born Pretty or mica powders off the side. But you can use a toothpick to clean your top. So I'm just going to kind of scrape this off to the side. So that my resin is not covering the top of the nub. And if it does, it doesn't matter, because I'm going to show you how we're going to clean up the beads. And that looks good. So I'm going to go ahead, put this under my UV light for 5 minutes, and I'll be back. Okay, this one is all cured. So I'm going to go ahead and pop it out of the mold. And you'll get the extra pieces on top, which you could just pull those off. That one was being a pain. Okay, kind of grab your bead from the side and just twist a little to release it from the nub. Easier said than done. And it comes right out. Now we need to clean. This hole is perfect. And as you see, that came out really pretty. I love the purple. This hole is perfect, but this one needs to be cleaned. And to do that, I like to take these tools from RJ Crafts, and I like the round one. And these are diamond files. And you just take it, push it in that hole, and just kind of turn around the edges. Just so you're not getting the other hole, just this one. And just getting the very edge of it. Just to open it up and make it look nicer. And you'll do that on all of them. And this round diamond file really lasts. It's a great tool to do this with. All right, now that we've got our edges cleaned up, go ahead and get this stuff out of the way. We want to put our eyelets on. And to do that, you're going to get your super glue out, and first check your eyelets and make sure that they fit in the hole that you cleaned up. And that one fits. And that one's a little snug, so I'm going to clean it out just a little bit more. And that's good. It's still a little snug, but that's fine, it fits. All right, so you take your super glue. Oh, I didn't have my toothpicks. Put a little bit of your super glue on something that you can just throw away. And you're just going to take some and put a little bit on your toothpick and rub it just up at the top of the inside of your bead. And up at the top here also. Then go ahead and take your eyelet and place it in the hole, just like that. Flip it over and do the same thing for the other side. Just a little bit on the inside. and a little bit on the outer edge. Put your eyelet in and push it down and set it aside to dry. And you'll do the same with your other beads. And it's that simple. So now whatever your jewelry is, you just take it, open it up, and slide your beads on there. Let me get all these over here. And I'm just doing these in any order. Screw your little piece back on there, and you have yourself a cute little Pandora bracelet. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and I hope that it inspires you. And it would be awesome if you would click the like button and subscribe to my channel. I love bringing you free tutorials on polymer clay and UV resin. And that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed, and till next time, bye.